I am live. How are you guys? I am unshaven and tired and exhausted, but I'm going to start. Like I said, I promise I do every 8:30 every Tuesday, so I'm here. Okay, so this is boring. There's nobody here looking. There's nobody here yet. Okay. Okay, so good thing is I had somebody email a couple questions, so I'm going to answer them first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now, a couple things. Boy, I got 6 people. Ooh, late at night, I'm getting 6. Couple of things. First of all, please, if you're not subscribed, hit the little bell. I sound like one of those real creators that actually know what they're doing. And this way, next time I do one, or if I throw a live on, I think I'm going to do one of those quizzes like I did. I did the test for FINRA. I think I can figure it out that if I do Notman's, and I'm just using it as education to teach you guys, then I can run through their tests and give you explanations, maybe a little bit better than they can. As long as I don't even, I can, if I don't monetize from it, I think I'm okay, because it's considered commentary or editorial. Okay, couple of things. Somebody asked me a question, and she's in Germany, so she's sound asleep right now. She asked about DVP. So I'm going to say it's probably not heavy on the exam, but DVP, and if I'm loud, I have a sinus infection, so I can't hear. So I'm just trying not to be too loud. Okay. For life only? What do you mean by that? Ask me that. Do you mean the life insurance test? Angela, add that put that in the comments. I don't know what you mean. I think it's a 70, but I can double check. Okay. Yeah, I think life only is 70%. Also, remember, each state's different. Your state may be a little different, but I always thought it was 70%. The good thing is, with those, you can take them over and over and over again, which is nice. Okay. Now, again, DVP. Somebody asked. DVP is for a prime brokerage account. Don't worry about dividend. Don't worry about DVP versus RVP. There's no freaking difference. Okay. DVP, RVP is this. We have a prime brokerage account. This is a big broker deal. This is JP Morgan's, Goldman's. My account is with them. I use other broker dealers to execute, but I hold all my shares of my money with JP Morgan as the prime. So I will use JP Morgan as my prime, and like Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe is my executing broker dealer. Let's pretend I'm a hedge fund. So I will give the order to Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They will execute. All the processing and the settling and the clearing really comes from JP Morgan. So there's a DVP account at Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe that the money comes in from JP Morgan and then goes to the other side. And then when it comes back, the shares come in here and go up. DVP, RVP is really the same thing on both sides. Okay. So somebody emailed me questions, and you guys are fine to do that. Remember, just put in the section box in the, whatever you call it, the subject, YouTube questions. You can send me questions, and I'll try to answer them next week. Or you can type them here now, but you can also do it next week. Okay? Okay. Now, first question this person sent me. Julie, she was asleep in Germany. I think it's Germany. Can you explain at a high level what the objective is, what the Fed is doing with these repos, and does it do it at specific times, which doesn't really matter? And during auction, does the Fed desk really deal with individual investors? So we'll go through the whole thing. So first of all, the Federal Reserve, their jobs, they have 4 tools. DORM. Discount rate, which is the rate that they lend to banks overnight. That's lending. O is open market operations. That's the FOMC. That's where they trade. They trade with primary banks. They don't trade with you and me. They trade with primary banks. So during an expansion cycle of the economy is doing well, what they will do is they will try to put the brakes on it so it doesn't go hyperinflation. So what they will do is they will sell treasuries to the banks. So the banks have to buy the treasuries, and now they have less money. So they sell treasuries, and the banks buy that. Now they have less money, and money becomes more expensive. So they start raising their rates to cut the cost, to recoup the cost. So it becomes harder to borrow, hence slowing down the economy. They also raise the discount rate. The discount rate is what they lend to for overnight lending for the banks. That is if they raise that, it costs the banks more money to overnight borrow. So then they pass it on to us, the suckers, I mean the customers, okay? The R is the reserve requirement, how much each banks have to have on deposit. They won't really touch it because of what they call the multiplier effect, that they don't know if they raise or lower that reserve requirement, it may have such a big impact that they may not be able to control it. M is margin. Hey, margin is run by Reg T. Reg T in Active 34 says, hey, we're going to let the Federal Reserve Board cover margin. Now, during the down cycle or contraction, don't say recession. A recession is a long contraction. During contraction, they will try to bump up the economy. So what they will do is they will buy treasuries. They'll buy T-bills, T-notes, T-bills, D-notes, bonds from the banks. The banks will then have cash that they will lend out. So since they have a lot of cash, it'll lower the rates. More people borrow, more investments. So during peak, during expansion, they will slow it down by selling and raising. During contraction, they will speed it up by lowering and buying treasuries, okay? They will buy treasuries and lower the discount rate. Then this trough, which is just the bottom, and we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. Now, so a couple of the questions you ask are ridiculously stupid questions. Not her stupid, but they're too deep, and that's where some of the books go too deep. So if you're really sticking to Kaplan, STC, achievable for the SIE, and Past Perfect a little deep, not many is part of Kaplan questions. You should be fine. And the 80 banker, Solomon, I don't know him that well again. So, okay, so what we're going to do is here. So she was looking at some sort of chart. So the thing is, so what are term bonds? Does anyone know what a term bond is? Term bond. A term bond is a bond that has a single issue date and a single maturity date. Okay? That's what it is. So they have a single issue date and a single maturity date. That is what a term bond is. Good. Mr. Banks, one price, one maturity. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. It's issued at par. Okay, it's issued at par, which is 1,000. Remember, bond is 1,000 on par. And it dies at par, matures at par. So what's interesting that, we have interest rate risk that if rates go up, prices go down. But if you actually hold the bond to maturity, you don't really care because you're still getting back to 1,000. So not even a big deal. Okay? So now, a serial bond, what's a serial bond? What would a serial bond be? Oh, I hope you guys can hear me. I guess you can. My sound is off. Okay, a serial bond is one issue date and multiple maturity dates. A serial bond is one issue. So what happens is we'll issue $1 million, and then we'll say in 10 years, 100,000 of it will mature. And then in 12 years, another 100. And then 14 years, another 100, until over time, we've matured all the bonds. What happens is it makes the issuer not have to come up with all the money at one time. Okay, so let's see the questions we got. Okay, so if you have so here's a question about yield to call, yield to maturity. So if you have a bond that trades at a yield, if you have a bond that is trading at a discount, how will we quote it? How is a discount bond quoted on the comp firm? I am so corny with this, but I love it. How is a bond at a discount quoted? Feel free to answer. Buzz in, chime in. Okay, so a discount bond, it will be quoted what they call yield to worst. Yield to worst is yield on a discount will be either yield to maturity or yield to call, but since it goes on a discount, it goes coupon is the lowest or nominal or stated or interest rate, then yield to current yield, then yield to maturity, then yield to call. So they're going to use the lower of the two. They're going to use yield to maturity on a discount. On a premium, it's the other way around. It's coupon, nominal, stated, interest rate on top, then current, then yield to maturity, then yield to call. So then the lowest one is yield to call. Okay? So that's another question. If you guys have questions, feel free to put them in there. Okay. So if they say a bond is at 102, is that a premium or a discount? So if a bond is at 102, that means it's trading at 102%. Good. 102 means it's trading at a premium. Good, Judith. If it's at 102, it's at a premium. It's 2 points over premium or $20. If it's trading at 98, it's a discount. It's really 98% of par, which is 1,000. 98% of 1,000 is $980. That's how they quote it, because we don't want to say 980. We want to say 98. Okay. Okay. So again, they're not going to give you charts on bonds. So sorry, Julie, I'm not going to go into that whole bond thing because it doesn't really matter. And whatever book you're using is going to kill you. So if you, by the way, if you start using outside resources to research stuff, I would stick to either the SEC website, FINRA website, Investopedia, and you can really go Wikipedia, but I don't love them. So those, if you start going into the other ones, like the Federal Reserve Board, and like, oh, MSRB is not horrible either. But if you start going into like crazy, like Motley Fool and all that, they might not be so good about explaining it the way you need it for the 7, where they may show charts and stuff and using words that'll never be used on this exam. Okay. Okay. So again, if it's a discount, we're using yield to maturity. If it's a premium, use yield to call. Okay. Okay. Also, they may ask a question about which bond would most likely be refunded. Okay. Refunded means call back. Okay. Sure. I'll talk about OID in a second. So in a bonds that will be refunded are the bonds that the company would be most likely to call back first. So think about it. If you had credit cards, you would call back the highest coupon charging bond. Okay. Okay. So if you see a bond and they're giving you 4 bonds and they say which one would be, by the way, that was my senior moment, me going crazy. If you see 4 bonds and they're saying which one would be most likely to be called, first find the highest coupon, because that's costing them the most money. They will call that back first. If there's 2 high coupons, then you find the one with the lowest call premium. Call premium is the amount of money they have to pay over par to buy the bond back. So again, call premium is what they have to pay back over par to the investor to buy it back. So first you find the highest coupon and then the lowest call premium. Okay? Okay, and I'm going to help you guys in 1 second. Yeah, okay. So what happened was this person looked for, she grabbed a official statement. And it's going into all this calm stuff, and it's way, way, way deeper than needed for the test, because this is what lawyers read. So I'm going to tell you what the official statement is. The official statement is like the disclosure doc. It's the equivalent of the prospectus. But since official statement is from munis, they don't have to follow federal law, so they don't need a prospectus. So munis use official statements, and non-exempt corporates and corporate bonds and corporate stocks use a prospectus. An official statement technically doesn't have to be printed because, again, the states are exempt because states are exempt from any rules other than anti-fraud. But if there's an official statement printed, then they have to give it to everyone. You don't have to ask for it. They have to give it to everyone. Okay. Now, Mr. Banks, OID, original issue discount. All that means is it's a 0 coupon. It's originally issued at a discount. OID is an original issue discount, which means that it is it's a 0 coupon, or it's issued at a discount. So basically, they issue it at 800, it matures at 1,000, and the $200 is your interest, whether it's over 6 months, a year, 20 years, or whatever it is. So that $200, that discount below par where it's issued is considered your interest. It does not accrue interest. There is no accrued interest. you just whenever you sell it, you're going to sell it for basically what it's worth. You buy it at 600, you're going to get 400 back in 20 years. Here's the problem: the IRS does not want to wait 20 years to tax you. So unless it's no matter what, you will have to accrete the bond. Okay, so you have to get accretion down. You don't need it for the SIE, but you need it for the top off. But you have to know what accretion is. It's basically taking the discount amount. Say you buy a bond for 600 and it matures at 1,000. That's $400. You have to take that and divide it by the number of years to maturity. If you divide the 400 by, say, a 10-year maturity, that's $50 a year. The cost basis goes up by $50 every year, and you're going to get taxed on that. It's called phantom income because you're not actually getting the money. You are getting taxed on it, but you're not getting it. Because they're saying, oh, after 1 year, your bond is now worth $650, even though it's not worth $650. The IRS says it is, so they're going to tax you on that increase at ordinary income. The only ones who don't have to worry about that are OID munis, because why? Because they're not subject to federal tax. The other two, corporates and treasuries, that accretion amount will have to be paid taxed. Okay. Now, Oscar, if it failed the 7, top off twice, what are your meant to try to pass it? Well, a couple things. One, depends what books you use. If you're not using STC, Kaplan, Notman, Past Perfect, or Training Consultants, or even Wiley, Securities Institute of America, I think that's going to be tough. If you failed it like yesterday, so now you have the magic of time. If you failed it and it was recently, write everything you can down around the test, throw it in a drawer, and then start reading the book again. Just read it straight through. Don't take a lot of notes. Read it. It'll be much easier to read the second time. And then start kind of forget the tests. If you're using STC, by Kaplan questions. If you're using Kaplan, maybe by STC questions or Past Perfect or somebody else, just to get new questions to make sure you're not memorizing. Feel free to reach out to me. I can help. I can give you some pointers and stuff like that. But if you failed it twice, one, don't panic. You got one more shot, and then you have to wait 6 months, which sucks, but it isn't the end of the world. If you're in the high 60s and it was more like just bad luck, if you're in the 50s, then you got to read. You need to reread and add knowledge. Do not book a date unless they make you to until you're ready. Don't force it. Don't let them choose your date if they don't make you. You choose the date you're going to pass it. Okay. Hope that helps a little bit, Oscar. But again, reading's everything, and get those options down. The suitability, get the suitability of options down. Okay. Can you describe the basic benefit, deferred comp, and the knowledge I should know for the 7? Okay. So I can't go too deep into it, but I will. First of all, ERISA covers all corporate retirement plans. So ERISA covers all corporate retirement plans. If it's an individual like an IRA or an annuity, it is not covered by ERISA. So if it's a qualified plan, it's covered by ERISA, and the money goes in pre-tax, and it grows tax deferred, which means you do not pay tax on it till the end. Okay? Now, what your question was defined benefit versus defined contribution, I think. Okay? So defined benefit means that you start working. Most profitable places don't do this anymore because it puts yeah, sorry, I just read something on there. So now, if I use defined benefit, and my friend's an iron worker down on the Trade Center where it was, or the Freedom Tower now, they tell him for every year that you work, we will pay you $200 a month for the rest of your life. They're defining his benefit. They're telling him, if you do this, we'll do that. The risk is on them to make sure they have enough money to do it. That's where they bring in an actuary and go from there. If you do defined contribution, you know what's going in. It's like a 401k or even the deferred comp. You know what's going into the plan, okay? You know what's going in now, but you have no idea what it's going to be in 30 years. So the thing is, for the younger people like you guys, defined contribution is great because you can have the magic of growth over the next 40, 50 years, 40 years, hopefully not working for 50, the next 40 years, and it can grow exponentially. So you can make a lot of money. Defined contribution says that you are going, that you put them, you know what's going in, you have no idea what's going out on the other side. Defined benefit, you know what you're going to get at the end, but you don't care what they're putting in for you now because it doesn't matter. Because you know that if I put in my 20 years, I'm going to get 10% of my salary for a pension. Like my wife's grandfather, he worked at Kohler. He got a pension check until he died. Every year, every month, he got a check. You know, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it was, because that's what they did back then. They did defined benefit where they go, oh, we're going to give you a pension plan. You put it in and we pay you for life. I love to have that. I love to know that when I'm 65 or 70, whenever I stop working, I will just go. The way my life is going, I think I'm going to be working till noon on the day of my funeral. So now I have nothing saved. Okay, not enough because I have 4 kids and lots of colleges to pay for. So now, defined contribution, you know it's going in, better for younger. You're going to get the growth. Now remember, the company has no responsibility other than what they put in for you. What they put in for you is all they have to worry about. They don't have to. If they do, they do. What it grows to is on you. What do you pick? Aggressive, conservative, whatever it is. But it does grow tax deferred. Now, defined benefit, you don't know what they're putting in, but you do know what you're getting at the end. It always seems confusing. Now, I want to go back to the retirement stuff again a little bit. First of all, if you offer to one, you have to offer to everyone who's over 21 and full-time. So the 20-year-old who works 10,000 hours a year doesn't get it, isn't entitled. You can give it to him, but you don't have to. Once he turns 21 or she turns 21, you got to give it to him. Okay. Okay. Now, thanks. I appreciate that. The next part is the earliest you can take it out is 59 and a half. Part of the reason is that a lot of those guys read off of, see, it's my ADD. A lot of those guys are reading a PowerPoint and they've just been doing it for years and never, they can't answer questions or anything. That's why I'm here. That's why I make the big bucks. So now, the earliest you can take it out, 59 and a half. Okay. Okay. 59 and a half is the earliest you can take it out without a what? A 10% penalty, unless you have some reasons, like an IRA, if you have a death, obviously, disability, education, first home buyer, stuff like that, then they allow you to take it out before 59 and a half, still taxable, just no penalty. Now, qualified plans, you also have what they call an RMD. RMD is at July 1st, I'm thinking summer already. April 1st, after you turn 70 and a half, you must start taking it out. And if you don't, you know what they jack you for? 50%. So just take the damn stuff out. So if you are 70 and a half, none of you are, and you haven't started taking it out yet, start taking it out. One of my ex-students got fired because what happened was like 2 years ago, he called me up and goes, oh my God, I'm going to get killed. May 1st, he goes, I forgot to, May 1st, because I forgot to remind one of our bigger clients that he had to take his money out by April 1st. He ended up getting like $100,000 tax bill. Now that tells me the guy has a bit of money. So he got fired because the guy had to pay a tax because he was supposed to take it out by April 1st after he turned 7 and a half, and he didn't do it. So I talked to his manager. He still lost his job, but they put him in another role. But then they started, I told them, I said, it's easy. Why make a mistake? Just create a spreadsheet. They have spreadsheet. Excel's pretty freaking awesome that you can put alerts in it and boom, it'll send an email, automatically send an email, I think, or an alert that'll tell you when to start telling people to take their money out. Another thing that another student did, if you send an email out to a bunch of your clients, please make sure you blind copy. Don't do CC. He got fired for that one because he sent a note out to 1,500 clients and did CC, not blind copy. So I would think you should tell all your financial advisors and all your bosses that they should actually delete the CC line from all their emails. So everything goes blind, and if you really, really need to have somebody's name on it, which is like your manager, put it in the 2 line. You can put multiple lines in there. There's absolutely no reason to have a regular CC line if you have multiple customers. It's just my 2 cents, and I've told as many managers as I can. Who knows if they're going to do it? Okay, I don't know, banks, what the sector means. Okay. Hey, John, thank you very much. Did you pass the 7 already or the 6? Okay. Now, I think we're good. I think that's it. I'm out of questions and I'm tired. So let's see. So is that what? Oh, banks. Okay, public versus private sector. Okay, that's not really about. Oh, I guess it is. So public sector is more likely to do defined benefit because they don't care about profits. They take our tax money. Private sector needs profit, so they're not going to take the risk. We're talking about defined benefit contribution. I'm going backwards a little bit. Defined benefit, you know what you're getting at the end. So public companies will do it. Not public companies like Gillette or Ford. Public, like, not companies, public, like the city of New York, state of Wisconsin. They don't really care about money. So they can take this risk. That's why GM got in so much trouble, is because the unions wouldn't back off this defined benefit crap. So basically GM became basically a benefits provider. Okay. Okay, so Steve, a DMM act as a dealer principal. Okay, so DMM is a specialist. If you ever see the word market maker, they're acting as a dealer or a principal. So remember, PDM, principal dealer markup. Okay, and ABC, agent broker commission. A DMM is a specialist on the New York Stock Exchange. Their job is to kind of slow down the fast movements of the economy, of the stock. So if there's a lot of buyers, they have to sell to kind of get in their way and be a speed bump and keep it moving. They don't have to stop it from going up and down, but they have to slow it down. They just have to get in the way a little bit, kind of like a speed bump or a traffic cop. And a broker is just what you guys are going to be, and you're going to be agents maybe, and then you're going to be brokers and charge a commission. What's the max sale? What's the max commission? It's not a law; it's a guideline. What's the max commission? I do have to go in a few minutes though. What's the guideline for commission? Good. Commission markup is 5%. How about the max sales charge? Steve, you're not allowed to answer. Oh, Sergio. Sergio. You beat my question. So 5% is for the max guideline for stocks and bonds, non-exempt. Sergio, that 8.5% is the max sales charge, yes, for mutual funds only. Yes, very good. Not closed-end funds. Closed-end funds have the 5%. ETFs have the 5%. IPOs are closer to 10. Anything with the prospectus is not subject to this 5% rule. Okay? I may have time for one more question. If not, I will do next Tuesday. I'm going to try to throw out a video with that Notman stuff, maybe Thursday or Friday, because I think I'm a little light on students that night. Maybe not. Hopefully not. And I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing. And I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting there. If you want to keep getting notified, hit subscribe, hit the little bell button. Sounds like every creator I know, except for they're good looking and have great cameras. But probably this Thursday I'm going to try to do it, but you'll get the notification. I don't know when I'm doing it. I have to make sure I have time. But I'm going to start doing lives every Tuesday night at 8:30. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? Guys, thank you very much. And y'all have a good night. And adios. Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.